Okay, I want to make a recording for first chapter in Excel. I have the hands-on exercise open here. And if you're following along I'm on page 323. And I've downloaded and opened the Ch1 Ch1 souvenirs document. As you can see, the title's right up here, kind of like it does in Word. So Excel, the purpose of Excel is basically number crunching, and that's all there is to it. And I always say to my students, if you're not using Excel to crunch numbers, if you don't have formulas in Excel, then you might as well not even use Excel. Just make a table in Word. And a lot of students find Excel to be the hardest part. But a lot don't, and it's really not that hard. They just think it's going to be hard, therefore it is hard to them, but it's actually not that bad. And we're just going to hit the tip of the iceberg on Excel's capabilities. You can do all kinds of statistics and crazy things that we don't cover in this class, but we do cover in our data science program. So anyways, let's get started. First thing it wants us to do is to check the spelling. And it looks like souvenir, but it's not in there. So I'm going to close this and whoops. Oh, by the way, here we have in Excel, there's a just matrix of cells. So this cell right here is A1 because I'm in column A, row 1. And this here would be like column C, row 3. So this would be called C3. So in A1, the person has typed in all this text. I'm just fixing the spelling because the spell checker for some reason SOUVE. Oh man, it's way off. VENIR, way off, and I think I contribute to that. Some reason it didn't catch it, but you can see what happens is if you type into a cell, it'll just keep pushing over. But say I put something in here, like an X, in B1, then it would all of a sudden truncate that, if that makes sense. I don't know why it does that, but that's just the way it is. Okay. Then it wants us to keep adding some stuff here. So again, I'm on page 323. After the mug, we have souvenir program. And then we have soundtrack CD. And then I'm just typing text. These are going to be titles of things. T-shirt. And then I like to use this blue check right here, or the green check, whichever. It's blue right now, but instead of hitting the enter. The reason why is later on you'll see sometimes if you hit the enter and your cursor's in the wrong spot, it's in the correct spot now, but if it happens to be in a weird spot, it'll actually put a hard return, and you don't want that. So if you get used to doing that for enter and then the red X for to cancel. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit out of order. First of all, I'm going to select, you can select a whole row by selecting the number or a whole column by selecting the letter. Or I could have just done this, and I'm holding my mouse down and I'm dragging. So I'm clicking here and dragging across. Okay, but I'm going to hit this to select the entire row, and then I'm going to wrap text. Okay, so you can see what that's going to do. It makes it so it doesn't truncate the text anymore on the thing. And I'm going to, for the heck of it, bold it. And I think I'm going to, I'll just leave it like that for now. So they want us to, for the first time, put some formulas in. In E5, they want the markup amount. So it's the cost times the markup rate. So in Excel, the way you tell it the difference between typing in a text or some numbers is the equal sign. If you type in an equal sign first, that's very specific to Excel. It's saying, okay, the thing following this is a formula, and I want you to do the computation. Whoops. This must be C5 times D5. Now, it's not case sensitive, but just as a policy, I like to use the cases. So what this is going to do is this is going to take the contents of C5, it's going to multiply it times the contents of D5, and then it's going to put the answer into the cell where I'm typing the formula at, like that. Okay, and then I want to do this for all these, so I could type the formula in by hand on all these, or we have the copy. Now in Excel, the mouse has can turn into like literally dozens of different modes, like making the width, adjusting column height, or moving, copying. Now, if you could see that green block down there, that's the fill handle. So when you put the mouse over top of that, click and drag down, it's going to copy. Okay. Now, we can do this for this other types of things, too, that aren't a formula. So in code, I'm going to type 101, because that's what they wanted there. Then I'm going to copy this down, but notice here, it's not a formula. So it just copies down. So I'm going to hover on that thing. It gives me a little autofill options right here. So I hit the down arrow, and I'm going to tell it that not just a copy, but it's actually a fill series. And now it puts a cost code 101, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way down. Looks like I missed this retail price here, spelling problem. Okay, so the retail price is going to be the markup amount. Let's see. Markup amount plus the cost. So let's do that real quick here. So it's going to be the cost. It doesn't matter because it's addition to the order. Plus, so C5. And notice I clicked on that cell. I didn't have to type in the C5. I actually do that all the time. So now I'm going to click in E5 and hit the blue check. Okay. Notice the idea in all of the formula, all the spreadsheets we use this winter, or this session, I'm going to write a formula in the top row and then copy it down. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking on page 325, and they want us to put the percent off. This is just typed in. So the first one is 0.15, and then so on. Let me pause. I'll finish these out. Okay, so I just finished typing all these in here that aren't calculated using a formula. They have they do a little find and replace on step 4. It looks like they're finding and replacing 0.05 and replacing it with 0.1. Let me show you how that works. Again, hit Control F. The same thing. The same thing that we did for Word, and we're going to look for 0.05. Actually, 0.05, and replace with 0. What did I do? 0.1. So I would find next, and do I want to replace it? Hit yes. Do I want to replace it? Hit yes. That's all there is to that. They also want the date. The date is 9/1. If I just hit a check here, it put 1 September, and notice how it put this. It put the best guess for the date in there. I don't know if I like this format. I'm going to go to my date format, and I'm going to do short date. So it just changed the data that's saved in there is the same. It just changes the look of how the user sees it. So let's work on the sale price formula. That's going to be equals, and so it's going to be the retail price minus the retail price again times the percent off. I believe that's what it's going to be. Let's see. It might not be right. Let's check it. So 13.9. Okay, we have a tiny bit of an error here. Hold on one second. Oh, I see. In the very top one, they changed this cost to 7.95. So when this will be interesting. When I change this to 7.95 and I hit this check, all these retail price and stuff is going to change. You'll see. It changes up to where it's supposed to be. Okay. All right, so I'm going to copy these down. Again, with the fill handle. Later on, we're going to talk about absolute referencing with the $sign. Don't forget the $sign is very important when copying. We just don't need it yet. And there's all our stuff for that. Now, it might be a little bit different than what they have in the book, but I think maybe some of the instructions had us change some values. Yeah, D6 to 1.25. So this also will change some things. That's what's nice about Excel. If you're working with numbers, you change one thing here, and it automatically recalculates all your other stuff. Okay. One more thing they had us change in the book. All right, so let's do the profit margin. Here I'm looking on page 332, and it wants a formula that says H5 minus C5, and because of order of operations, we got to put that in parentheses, divided by H5. That's going to give us the percent difference for the original cost. Okay, so again, we don't need $signs here, and you're probably wondering what the heck is a $sign. Here, I'll show you real quick. So I'm going to do an example here of putting $signs in front of my H in front of the 5. Then I'm going to copy. Okay, and you'll see I'm going to move down the formula. You'll see right now I'm using the C5 and the H5, and that's it. Okay, but when I go to the next one down, notice I'm doing H6 and C6. That H7. Can you watch along up here? H7, H8, etc. So when you copy these down, Excel does its best to guess what you want to do. It's usually pretty close, but if you know you don't want something to change, so it's as simple as this. The $sign holds the thing after it still from changing. So in all of these, we'll be looking at the H5, which is incorrect. Okay, I don't always want to look at that. So I just have that there for example. So by the way, I'm hitting the F4 here to cycle through all the options. Okay, so I actually don't want $signs, but I thought I'd throw that in there real quick to show you that. Then I copied that down. They would like a new column between H and I, so I'm going to click on this, and I am going to insert it. Push the thing over to the right. Notice how, well, don't interrupt the formulas there, but if it did, it would have changed them for us. So right here is going to be profit amount, and I believe profit amount is a simple subtraction, which is going to be, if we're going to sell it for this much, but we bought it for this much, that's our profit amount. Copy that down. Okay, we're going to mess with some formatting here. By the way, if you ever want to see the formulas in a spreadsheet, just hit Control and then tilde. Okay, and you can see it shows all the formulas here. Now, what's a tilde? The tilde is the thing that's probably right above your tab key, right to the left of the number 1. It also has a little accent mark. So I'm holding Control with my thumb. With my finger, I'm hitting the tilde. And I'm cycling between the different views here by hitting that tilde. All right, they want us to insert right after product. So again, I'm going to right click, insert, and then they just want us to type in the word apparel here. And then souvenir right above the mug. Now they might do it a different way, but that's the way I've always done it. And I'm going to bold that so it looks like that. They have you delete a row, this one right here, and the way I would do that, I would right click and just delete. And by the way, they have you hide a column too. So if you want to delete, if you want to hide a column, right click and simply hide. So you can see how it goes from A to C. There's a little bit of a thing here. You can kind of tell that it's there. That's how you hide a column if you want to. Okay, they want us to adjust the this row height. So I'm going to go to the Home tab, click on the row, Format, row height, and they wanted 30 in here, I believe. And then I think they want this centered. Like that. And they wanted a color. And probably bold. And I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger here. So something like that. They have you do some copy and pasting. Like you could just select all this stuff, right click and copy, and then paste. Different ways to paste. Okay, but I'm not too worried about that right now. So get out of that select mode, hit the escape. Okay, I'm now looking on page 357, and I'm just going to make this sheet look like the sheet at the bottom of 357 for the most part. Or I guess we could look on page 358 also. So the first thing is we're going to put this back to black. And then I also need to merge and center. So I select, by the way, clicking on A, going all the way out to J, and then I'm going to merge and center. And that does exactly what you think it would do. Merges all these cells and then centers them left to right. Then underneath here, they have, it looks to be a thick border. And then I wonder how we can change that border's color. And they have it as some sort of blue. Oh, I guess we got to draw it out. Oh, so I'm using my mouse carefully. I don't know if you can see that, but it did actually make it blue. That hit escape, and I have blue underneath there. I need to change that thickness. So on the border, I would like, oh, we could have done the color right here too. I'd like to be much thicker. Something like that. There we go. So that pretty much looks like it looks over there. I need to stretch column A out so we can read all the text. And what else do they have here? They indent here. So I'm just going to select all three of these, hit the indent, just so it looks a little nicer to read. And then I don't know if they do it. They do it here. So everywhere has to do with money, I select. So okay, I'm going to click the mouse right here, drag down. I'm not copying. Remember, I wasn't there. If I copied, boy, that'd be bad look. It would goof everything up. But hit Control-Z to undo that. Copy those two. Hold Control. Copy these two. Copy these. Actually, we want this one too. we want anywhere there's money. Whoops. Anywhere there's money, I'm selecting. So I have an accidental over one right there. But anyways, we're going to go here. And they chose accounting. I never use accounting because accounting puts the $sign on the left here. And then it puts, if you have a negative, it makes it red in parentheses. And it should put the decimal to 2 places. And it just kind of ignored the thing that was empty. Profit margin, this is a percent. So I'm going to select these. I can use this shortcut right here. Make those percent. I'm going to make these percent. What the heck? We'll make these percent too. So something like that. I'm getting close to the way it looks. I'm looking on page 358 right now. Yep. And that's about it. You know what they did? They increased the decimals places. I'm just going to show you how to do it on some of these. You can just do the shortcut right here if you want more decimal places. Okay. They do some more moving and copying on 368, which again, there's nothing bigger. We don't want to cover it, but you just select the text and I always just do right-click and copy. Then there's going to be, right-click, all these different ways to do it, to paste it. If, for example, say this is 1 month's worth of data and you need to make several other months' worth of data, that could be something you would want to do. So I'm going to pause on that. Okay, so if you get a print, there's a lot of, I'm on the page layout here, tab. There's all kinds of things you can do for that. For one thing, in Excel, it's really common to have your document in landscape mode. So I click the landscape, hit print preview, and you'll see it sideways. Now, let's take a look at it in portrait, which is a shortcut right here. See, it would look like that in portrait mode. But a lot of times these spreadsheets, they get big. So you want the orientation to be landscape. So if we hit this down arrow here, you'll see we get all kinds of options to set the size, the percent fitting on a page. You can set the different margins. If you want to put a header and footer, this is how you do it. There's all kinds of things you can do with that. So for example, if we put a header, I could put your name here. And then all these things here are like fields. Whoops, somehow I got out of my custom header. So I'm going to, you could insert the file name there. I think that's what they do. You could put the date, today's date, all sheet number, all kinds of stuff, in there. But I'm just going to do what they have and put the file name in there. So, and if you want to see what that would look like, see up top here, there's a little header, and there's the name of the document right there. Okay, and that's it for the intro to Excel. On our web page, I have all kinds of examples on there, and then I have videos that I've made earlier on how to solve those. So maybe we'll cover some of those later.